Shooting it raw?
Yes. Shooting it raw. Oh, okay. So this is a photograph probably taken on the 19th floor because it looks rather high, or 20th floor somewhere. There are two groups. First of all, you're standing and you're overseeing, I guess you're facilitating two groups speaking to each other. Each group has about 2, 4, 6, about 8 to 10 people in them. You're in an office room or in a sort of a, I guess maybe it's like a corporate kitchen or sort of a large space, bunch of people, bunch of desks. They seem to know each other, but maybe not because they have name tags. So maybe these are people who are invited into this space. And yeah, it's daytime. Yeah, so what is this?
This is a workshop that I facilitated for Hong Kong's main English language newspaper.
Oh.
Yes. And the HR manager invited me to facilitate a workshop for some of their staff on the topic of divergent thinking. So that creative thinking, yeah.
Nice.
And so these are all young members of staff, so they knew each other. They were wearing name tags for my benefit.
Right.
But they knew each other. And there were two groups, and they were doing an exercise called Word at a Time Story.
Okay.
Which is an exercise that requires several different kinds of skills that improvisers use on stage. But it's about taking those principles and mindset off stage into life and business and applying the principles and mindset of improv off stage in life and business. It's not about teaching people to perform improv. It's about approaching life and work with an improv mindset.
Okay.
And that training methodology is called applied improvisation. So these people were doing an applied improvisation workshop to build their divergent thinking, creative thinking capacity. And so they were doing a fun exercise called Word at a Time Story, which means they go around the circle to tell a never before told story.
Right.
And each person says one word and it goes around the circle. And of course, that means it's totally unpredictable because we don't know where the story is going to go. And so it builds people's skills in listening because they have to listen very carefully. And they can't be planning too far ahead because by the time it's their turn again, the story might have gone a completely different direction that you didn't expect.
Sure.
And yeah, it's a really fun exercise. And then the important thing with an applied improvisation workshop is that then there's a debriefing of, well, okay, what happened? What did you notice? What did you learn from that? And I remember one time doing that exercise with a different group of people, a different client, where one participant said afterwards that he really, really hated that exercise because the story didn't go the way he wanted.
That is so telling.
Yeah, it was. I thought very, very telling. Yeah, I wondered what would he be like to work with.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, good point. What kind of company? What kind of person is he? Is he an accountant?
I don't know.
It's somebody who really needs a lot of structure.
Yes. Yeah. So with the workshop that was in this photograph that you're looking at, I led them through maybe half a dozen different improvisational exercises where they got to practice. They had an actual experience, not just a theoretical lecture, an actual experience of applying the principles and mindset of improvisation. And because companies and organizations need people with the skills of teamwork, leadership, communication, creativity, emotional intelligence, handling change and the unexpected, being comfortable with stepping into the unknown. All of those skills are what companies and organizations need.
Do you feel that Hong Kong, there's a real hunger, demand, market, all those words for it, like that people here are at least switched on enough to know, well, I think we need this, and then they come and reach out to you?
There is certainly some there's, I believe, and people like me, applied improvisation facilitators around the world, are convinced that there's a need for it. And, organizations like the World Economic Forum and Harvard have done studies and interviewed CEOs around the world and found that those are the skills that CEOs say their companies need. In Hong Kong, it's been a bit of a hard sell because, I talk to, say, HR managers, for example, and they might be a bit risk averse
Sure.
to hire someone for using a methodology that they're not familiar with.
Right.
You know?
And I think that what it is I think Hong Kong, or it's not necessarily Hong Kong, but there are a lot of companies where the mentality is very, like, I find it, the way I describe it is very literal. You know what I mean? Like, it's all extremely, like, literal. It has to be this very prescriptive. You use the word risk averse, right? So not risky, not brave.
Going by the rule book.
So then you spend so much time trying to convert people's thinking to kind of at least understanding that you're not some alien coming up with these strange ideas.
Yeah. Well, what I often do in situations like that is, rather than trying to convince them with facts, I invite them to play the yes and game, or the word at a time story game, or some other improvisational process, where they actually get to experience it, and then notice their own behaviour and notice, well, okay, how might that apply or be useful in the work situation?
No, it is fascinating. So how long have you been doing this, really? I mean, like...
I've been doing the applied improvisation work for about 12 years.
Oh, wow, respect.
And there's a big community of people around the world who do it, not just for corporate clients, but in education, from kindergarten to university and beyond, in healthcare, doctors and nurses in the emergency room, or the surgery, in theatre, in conflict resolution, in coaching, sports coaching and life coaching.
I would imagine that in negotiation, it would be a very big thing.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the role or the importance of, I think I made a reference to it earlier just because it seems to beg to be asked, is this idea of mental agility or mental flexibility, or being able to not be stubbornly stuck on this one kind of idea, right? So how do you understand breaking that down?
Well, we all had to be agile when COVID arrived.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
We've all had to pivot and be agile and adapt and find new ways of doing things, new ways of being. So we all do it every day. Some more willingly than others, but every day. I don't know what's going to happen.
Okay. So now, because it's a big hot topic, what about this notion of how artificial intelligence is, just because this has definitely had a direct impact on my ability to earn a living.
Yeah,
so,
me too.
Okay, talk about that.
Because another thing I do is I'm an editor. I write and edit English language marketing content. And, a lot of companies, I've read lots of articles in the past few months about writers and editors losing their jobs, or their income, like freelancers like me, because clients think, I can get it done by ChatGPT for $5. Yeah. But a lot of content I've seen by ChatGPT is, in my opinion, dreadful.
That's just, the word that wanted to come out of your face was not dreadful. Yes. It was a lot more vulgar.
Well, there would be an adjective before the word dreadful.
Fucking dreadful. No, for sure. So because we're in the same world, what you realize, what it does is, in a way, is going back to this notion of it's functionally all there, or it's like on the surface level, okay, yeah, it's there, but what's missing is that hazard, or that the human element, or what's missing is that improvisational, whatever you want to call it, right? It's like it's missing
the human.
Okay, sure. So, but in terms of you're in a room with people who they have to tick boxes and create outcomes and, have deliverables or whatever. Like
And they have a budget.
We have a budget, and like these people in this room, right? And so how do you convey to them that actually that weird little mental thing of skipping between topics or between directions to go in an opposite or strange direction, a creative leap, is itself very human and very useful? Like, how do you explain that to people?
You can see the expression on my face.
Yeah.
It's challenging. What helps is to have a champion in the company who has somehow had some exposure. Are you talking about the chat GPT or the applied improvisation?
Like all my questions, I don't know. I just put the words out there and then I say, you take it from there.
Well, in both situations, I guess it helps to have a champion within the company who already believes in what I'm doing, what I'm offering. It doesn't necessarily have to be the CEO, but it helps if it's a senior person who's willing to take a chance on it, to experiment.
Yep.
Maybe because what they've tried so far isn't working. But with Chat GPT, that feels like it's very new. So I think a lot of people, like freelancers or any writers around the world, are still figuring out how to handle it. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to yes and you to go to the next photo.
Yes.
So is life really a gift? Really? Can you make every second count? That's the whole point of the podcast. So if you like what you've seen and you're inspired, because that really is my mission, then please give it a like, subscribe, and share.
Shooting it raw?
Yes, shooting it raw.